Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chai With Us podcast. This is episode number 36. I am Erica, the personal developer.
Hi, and I'm Ivana from Oko Isabel.
Yay! And today we are going to talk about coping with change.
Yes, we are. Today I'm drinking a green tea matcha with raspberry again. It seems to be my new favorite.
Okay. So I don't have my favorite, which is chocolate. Today it's not chocolate, it's actually rose tea. Okay.
Ooh,
I'm
the
obsessed
roast tea
with
is always
yogi
good.
tea. I'm really obsessed, and they have this rose tea with other stuff that I don't know how to. I don't know. It's just, and it says open up to infinity and become infinity.
Ooh, okay.
Beautiful, and I'm going to try here on this podcast because I just made it and didn't try, so I'll let you know.
We're all anxiously waiting for your answer.
Good, citric,
Good.
nice. Mm, it's good. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about coping with change, and it's such a big source of anxiety
Mm-hmm.
for people, and we don't like change, right?
No, we
We
don't.
can agree with that, and you can say all sorts of things, but then when you are confronted with big changes or small changes, I don't know, it depends on how sensitive you are. Sometimes big changes stresses us out as just
Mm-hmm.
as like big changes. So how do we cope with change, Ivana?
We do what we always do. We go back to our practices that we've established. I think, and the one main one that you mentioned in the last podcast, which I loved, you said grounding practices are everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I completely agree with that. I think it's so important to come back to our grounding practices when change is occurring around us, because when change happens, we can feel outside of our body. We can feel anxious. We can be daydreaming because we don't want to be accepting that that's our reality. So we disassociate from our body and go somewhere else. So that's
Yeah.
why it's so important to do these grounding practices, to maybe put your hands in the earth or to walk barefoot or to go for a swim, to feel like you're connected to this earth.
That's very interesting. I do agree with that. And yesterday I was listening to this. I was actually watching this webinar online, and it was so cool. And she said she was a therapist, and she was talking. We were talking about uh, bullying inside families. It's
Okay.
completely off topic, but they were talking about grounding practices. And she says something like, "If you feel your floor, you can walk."
Yes.
And I was like, that's exactly it. Because sometimes I try to explain what is grounding practices or to feel grounded, and I go back to the tree. But it's like you are building your floor so you can actually
Mhm.
walk. And I
Mhm.
loved the idea, especially since we're talking about change. When things change, we feel like we have nowhere to go. Like, what is happening? We feel
Yes.
out of control. And when you ground yourself, you create the floor, you create the ground so you can walk on it. And I just love this idea, and I wanted to share.
I like
um
that. Thank you.
it's beautiful, isn't it?
Mhm.
Beautiful. I loved it. I was watching the webinar. I was like, let me write this down because this is freaking interesting.
Yes.
And I do agree with everything you said, like grounding practices all the time. What would you say? Like, some people, they don't have grounding practices,
Mhm.
or they do have some grounding practices, but they don't consider it to be a grounding practice, because the coffee you drink each morning can be a grounding practice. But
Mhm.
if someone is like feeling a little bit out of control right now, doesn't have a grounding practice, where would you tell this person like to start?
I would say to sit down, to close your eyes, and to take a few deep breaths, and then to control your breath. Take a few deep inhale, a deep exhale, and to do that for a good 5 minutes, and just start there.
Oh my god. Okay, so one of the things that I wrote down for the talk we are having right now was exactly breathing techniques. Like,
Okay.
your breath will take you there. Like,
Mhm.
if you when you're feeling out of control, when you breathe, right, your mind connects to your body.
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
something that happens. And so breathing is very, very useful. I was having trouble sleeping lately.
Okay.
Now I can sleep again. Oh my God, my full hours, complete night of sleep. You can't, like, seriously, I'm so happy I can sleep right now. But I was doing this 7 day better sleep program. And one of the things that the woman who was doing the meditation, she told us, it's a recording thing, but it doesn't matter. I feel like I'm talking to her. She was speaking about breathing throughout the day, so we can get used to ground ourselves, like
Mhm.
everything is okay. And then when you go to sleep, you breathe and you breathe in and you breathe out, and you are like used to that thing. So yes, so breathing, it's not going to solve all your problems, but it will bring you to the present moment, and it will give you control of the situation again. Because when you're
Yes.
breathing properly, then you can function, right?
Mhm.
So interesting.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have a lot of the same things because they're so universal to help us deal with change.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we're talking about simple things that people can do, right?
Yes.
Because we can come here and talk about a lot of, spiritual texts and stuff like that. Then people are like, okay, cool, I do know that, and it's
Mhm.
I feel the same. Like I do know all the things,
Exactly.
I do know how it works, but what can I do? And so there are
Mhm.
simple things you can do: grounding practices, meditation,
Yes.
yoga.
I remember I had a difficult time at work and something was going on that I didn't really like. And so I went into the bathroom and I did my breathing exercise. And I told myself, you overcame this, you overcame this, you overcame this. And I listed all the things in my life that were really hard for me that I overcame.
Hmm.
And it helped me like deal with the moment, and it would made it so much easier when I just listed all the things that I because sometimes we forget, we've been through so much in our life that we forget all the things that we've overcome and are stronger because of it. We have
Hmm.
overcome so many things in our lives, and sometimes it helps us when you actually list them. For example, like I overcame moving to a different country at 6 years old, and I didn't know the language, and I was like a fish out of water, and I did that twice. Like I did that once going to Germany and then once to the US. And
Hmm.
that was such a big change in my life. And I overcame that and I'm stronger because of it. And so when you're going through a difficult time, it helps to like stop, take a few deep breaths, and remind yourself of all the things that you have overcome and are stronger as a result.
Yeah, that is so true. And actually, like, change is a freaking challenge. And if you remind yourself
Yes.
of the challenge you faced, you will know that this is another challenge. Even if it looks like it's the end of the world right now, everything's like went to shit. And you when you did you like that? Like I'm not gonna swear.
Yes. It took me a minute to realize what it was.
Yeah. you know um so when you remind yourself of the challenges you face, you will know that you can do anything. And we all needed to face
Yes.
something in our childhood, in our
Mhm.
adult life. We had to face something. And if we're having this conversation, if you are listening to this podcast or if you are watching us, you you are alive. So of course you have faced some situations and you got yourself out of it. And that's what's going to happen when it comes to change. And another
Yes.
thing that I was actually talking to my boyfriend the other day is like, you sometimes we look at change, or most of the times, like something that it's bad, right? Because you have a
Mhm.
plan
Mhm.
and it changed. Unless you are like, okay, let me move country, I love to do this and whatever, so that's good change and you like it.
Mhm.
You're scared but you like it. But sometimes life just ruins your plans and you're like, this is so bad. And
Hold
you
on.
think that
I
this
think
is
it's just one of those things.
okay. Okay, we're coping with change, we're trying to record and the universe
Yes,
is
we are.
having it. So yeah, can we speak now
Yes.
before I
Okay.
forget about
Yes.
this? um so um what happens is that we think that it's like the worst thing that could happen to you, and most of the times is actually the best thing that could happen to you,
Yes.
because change leads you to get outside of your box, outside of your comfort zone, thinking about new options, and it opens new
Mhm.
doors. So change,
Yes.
most of the time, seriously, change is a good thing. It's just that we cannot see it in
Mhm.
the moment while we're living it.
I completely agree. It's a catalyst for something else. And so I think it's so important that you have trust in the universe and that you have trust that you're on the right path and that everything that is happening to you is for your greatest good. Even though it might not feel like it at the time, because while you're going through it, of course, it doesn't feel nice. But then when you come out of it, it feels amazing. And it was maybe one of the best things that happened to you.
Hmm. One thing that you said in one of our episodes was that you are always at the right place.
Yes.
And I just love this because it is true. Sometimes we make plans and we think that on the 11th of January, I will be here, right? We think that we
Mhm.
will be
Mhm.
here. And something happens and it's not possible. And then the 11th of January comes and you are in a different place than the place you thought you
Exactly.
would be. But I mean, you are exactly where you should be because life took
Mhm.
you there and that's for a reason. So
Mhm.
you are always at the right place. To do what?
Yes, you are.
Only you can say. Only you can
Mhm.
say. To learn, to grow, to change paths. It's up to you, but you are always at the right place. And I love that you say that all the time. It's beautiful and true.
Because you are, like everything is happening for your greatest good, even though it doesn't seem like it. Because when you're in it, it's hard to see what the lesson is. It's only once you come out of it that you can look back and say, ah, okay, that's what I was supposed to learn, or that's why that had to happen to me.
Yeah, this is totally right. And another thing that I had on my notes is just let's just assume that things are going to change. Like life is not going to be the same all the time, seriously. I was very comfortable living my life, the way it was, but it's not going to be the same. Life is going to be ups and downs. So
Mhm.
the more we assume that things change, even though we can have like this first, reaction of, oh my God, things change, but then just remind yourself that it's normal. That's how life goes. People are
Mhm.
born, people pass away, people change jobs, new business starts, new business don't work. New ideas come to life, other ideas we
Mhm.
have to leave them because they weren't for us or whatever. It's just that it's like this, like change is constant.
Yes.
And if we accept that it's constant, it's going to hurt a little bit, but it's not going to be as frustrating because you are already kind of prepared to, to that, if you
Yeah,
know
and
what
I
I
think
mean.
change is so great because it's an opportunity for you to reinvent yourself all the
Mm,
time. So when you're starting a new job, for example, you can be a different person. You don't have to be the old person that you were at your old job. You can completely change your personality because these are new people that you're interacting with. So
mhm.
sometimes it's nice to be presented a new opportunity because it's an opportunity for you to be a different person.
Yeah, and if you are on this personal development path or spirituality, what's going to happen is that you're going to grow, and
Mhm.
eventually life will throw things at you so you can go to the next level you know so sometimes just this unexpected change is just a blessing in disguise.
Mhm. Mhm.
And yeah, and it's an opportunity. I said it before, like crisis is a freaking opportunity. Crisis is
Yes.
an opportunity for you to do things differently, to learn something, to grow, to go to the next level. Um and and this year is so crazy. 2020 is like the craziest year of my life, I think.
Yes.
This year is so crazy. You know what happened
Mhm.
to me today? I was walking down the street
But
and I felt this crazy energy,
okay.
very dense energy. And I saw
Mhm.
like one lady just fell on the floor, and then there was water running through the streets for some reason. Some people were screaming. I was at the cafeteria and they treated us badly, like really bad. And
Wow.
I was like,
Okay.
let me go home right
Mhm.
now. This year has been crazy. And um,
Mhm.
I think that some people may think that these changes are a little bit too much,
Yes.
because one thing is that you lose your job. that's normal.
Mhm.
I don't know. You lose your job because the company cannot pay you.
Mhm.
Like you're kind of in shock, but it's normal. But if you lose your job for a pandemic, it's a little bit of a difficult change. It's a little bit difficult to assimilate, right? Because
Yes.
changes this year, everything is more intense, just for starters, right? Everything is more intense. And I think it's more difficult to assimilate the changes right now because we are in the middle of a pandemic.
Mhm.
So people are like, oh my God. So many memes and posts about 2020 right now. It's
Mhm.
I can't
Yes.
even.
I think it's just important to come back to all the practice that we always mention, to do your yoga, to do your daily meditation, your grounding practices, and to maybe start journaling. Journaling will help you cope with change because it's a way for you just to get everything out there that you're feeling at the moment and to process it.
Mhm.
Or maybe start therapy. Maybe this is the time for you to start therapy.
It's true. And I've been journaling more often. I love journaling, but then I got lost in the way. I was lazy. I was doing other stuff, and I was not journaling. And the good thing about journaling is that you start noticing patterns
Yes,
that
you
you
do.
wouldn't
Yes,
unless
that's so
you
true.
write it like seriously. You can
Mhm.
think about the patterns, you can like visualize them, and oh, I did it. But when you write them 10 times in a row, you start
Yes.
thinking like, okay, that's a pattern. That's one thing I need to
Mhm.
change. And journaling really helps just to get things out of your chest,
Mhm.
just to
Mhm.
see things from a different perspective. And I can't think of a better way to cope with change than just
Yes.
writing it down and see it from a different perspective and thinking, okay, maybe that's not too bad. So
Mhm.
I would strongly advise people to journal. Totally, totally. It's
Yes.
working for me. Seriously, I'm doing
Mhm.
it right now, this moment, and it's really working for me. So I
Mhm.
hope it works with whoever decides to take on this challenge.
Yeah.
It's a very good
Do you have
practice.
any other suggestions for how people can cope with change?
Yes, I do have others. Just one more, if I can think of more, I would say. But it's just like don't focus on what you cannot control, right?
Mhm.
If you are looking
Mhm.
for a job, you cannot control if this person is going to hire you, but you can focus on like, how are you going to perform?
Yes.
You can control what you're going to say, how you want to feel, and everything. And this goes for everything in your life. Just don't focus on what you cannot control. Focus on what is it that you can control. You can control your breath. You can
Mhm.
control your breath and calm yourself down. You can control what you do in the morning to feel better every day and to go after
Mhm.
what you want. That there are some things that you can control, right? So
Yes.
focus on that instead of being like, there's a good thing about surrender. Surrender is great,
Yes.
but just do your stuff like this is what I can do and focus on that, and the
Yes.
rest leave it to universe, God, Buddha, uh, whatever your beliefs are,
I agree.
because what we
I agree
cannot
completely.
control, we cannot control.
Yes.
That's it. Easier said than done. Easier
I
said
love
than
what you
done.
said. Surrender. Surrender to the universe. Like I think it's one of the hardest things to do to just
Yeah.
release it and to like release the sense of control. But when you surrender, you start to form an acceptance of the situation and then you start to accept the change.
hmm It's true. And oh boy, we all know how we love to control. I don't know of
Yes.
one person that doesn't like to control, right? I'm not talking about being
Yes.
like manipulative and stuff, but we love knowing that we have control over stuff, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh,
Agree.
Fake control because we control nothing, but there are certain things you can do. So focus on that instead of focusing like on this
Mhm.
big picture that there's it's nothing to do with you, really.
Mhm.
So don't worry about that. I have a great exercise for that. Okay, so if you want to work on that, and you have a lot of stuff to do, okay, make a list of stuff to do and divide it in two parts. This is from the Ask and It Is Given book. Okay, I didn't, I
Oh, okay.
didn't, I didn't invent this. This is on the book, and if you want, they explain it way better than I do. But just to simplify things, so you make a list of the things that you need to do. Right? You need to find a
Mhm.
job. You need to break up. You need to make up. I don't know. Just write the list, but the list has two parts: things I want to do, and the other
Mhm.
part, things I want the universe to do for me.
Yes.
And the second part of the list, forget about it because it's not your responsibility. Just let it go.
Mhm.
I love this exercise. I do it sometimes when I'm
Yes.
like overwhelmed and I think that I need to do stuff that are not, not in my power. And just, I challenge people to give it a try.
Mhm. I like that. Thank you. I've read the book, but I forgot about the
You're welcome.
exercise.
I saw so many good exercises in that book.
Yes.
So many good exercises. You can be like an entire year working with that book. It's great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Hmm.
I like that. Thank you for sharing.
Sure, thank you. Ah,
Do we have
okay.
anything else, or do you think is this it?
I think that's it. I think that's it. I think it's way more simple than we think, right?
Yes, I agree.
You're confronted with change. What is it that you can control? What is it that you can do? What is it that it's
Yes.
not in your hands? Ground
Mhm.
yourself. Take good care of yourself, and
Mhm.
yeah,
And
you're
always
gonna.
just remember your breath. Like remember just to breathe through
Yes,
it.
it's
Like
so
it's so
important.
even in yoga, like in yoga they teach you all about the breath and how like if
Yes.
with one breath, one posture and you can just get through it and that's how you live your life. Like just continue to breathe through it and you will get through the situation.
Yeah, exactly. And ground yourself because everything is going to be easier when you ground yourself.
Mhm.
And that's it. And you're going to be
Agree.
fine. We are all going to be fine.
Yes, we are.
Mhm.
So
So,
let us know from our audience. We love to hear from you. Let us know if what uh, part in your life you had a difficult time through and how you coped with the change.
yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching and for listening. Bye.
Bye.